Revealed, how a millionaire's shocking secret transformed a black cleaner's life in 30 days. Maria Johnson wiped the crystal-clear surface of the glass coffee table, her heart heavy with the weight of bills piled on the kitchen counter back home. Aaliyah and Jamal needed new shoes for school. The thought twisted like a knot in her stomach. She sighed but held her head high, reminding herself of the love and determination that fueled her through life's demands. In this affluent mansion, the smell of brewed coffee and fresh flowers wafted through the air. Here, she masked her exhaustion with a smile. Yet, despite the luxurious surroundings, Maria often felt the ache of economic inequality. She navigated unspoken judgments and biases that scrutinized her worth beyond her role as a cleaner. The laughter of the homeowners echoed in the marble halls, reminding her of a social barrier she couldn't easily breach. As Maria dusted a family of elegant portraits, she unintentionally caught snippets of a conversation. "We need to empower the local youth, they're our future," Tom Evans, the owner, exclaimed passionately. Maria's ears perked up. Could it be a dream, a glimmer of hope for her community? But then, the sound of his assistant's condescending tone cut through the moment. What would she know about mentoring? "She keeps our homes clean," the assistant scoffed. Maria swallowed hard, feeling a heat rise to her cheeks. How could they dismiss her like that? With the bills piling up at home, Maria felt the glittering hope begin to fade, and she worried about Aaliyah and Jamal losing faith in their mother's tireless efforts. Yet that afternoon, something shifted. She found herself standing across from Tom Evans in the kitchen, their eyes locking for a brief moment, a moment where circumstance and expectation felt strangely equal. "Can you believe these kids?" Tom muttered, revealing a side of him she hadn't seen: frustration and vulnerability. Despite their different worlds, Maria sensed their shared weight of responsibility. Before they could delve deeper, tension broke like ice shattering, as his assistant judged Maria's capabilities again. "I'm sorry, can you pass the broom?" she said, dismissing her. That was the spark. Maria's eyes widened in disbelief. "I clean homes because I care. I have ideas. I have value," she shot back. The room fell silent, and both men were taken aback. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Just when she thought the opportunity to uplift her community slipped through her fingers, an anonymous letter found its way to Tom. The letter painted a vivid picture of Maria's unwavering spirit, her dreams, and her untapped talent for mentoring. Amidst the chaos of judgments, Tom found himself questioning his own preconceived notions about worth and opportunity. On a crisp fall morning, he made a decision that would change everything. Maria, filled with uncertainty yet determination, stood ready to lead the very program he envisioned. But anxiety churned in her heart as people's eyes, both skeptical and hopeful, turned toward her. As the moment of truth drew near, Maria prepared to speak at the community launch. But in the crowd, doubt lingered. She could feel it physically, a tightness in her chest. Could she really change their perceptions with her voice? The air buzzed with anticipation, and Maria stood poised to shatter expectations. But would she find the courage to redefine her world? Maria stepped up to the microphone, her palms slick with sweat. The auditorium buzzed with whispers and shifting bodies, eyes trained on her. She took a deep breath, letting the scent of polished wood and faint perfume fill her lungs. This was her moment. Yet every heartbeat echoed her fears. "Hello, everyone," she began, her voice trembling but determined. She glanced over the crowd. Families, teens, even elders came to hear what she had to say. "I'm Maria Johnson, and I clean homes for a living. But today I'm here because I believe in our community," she continued, pushing through her nerves. A few heads nodded, but she noticed some faces still wore skepticism. The feeling of being an outsider crept back in. I know what it feels like to struggle. To want more for our children, to long for opportunities you can't quite reach. For me, it's about Aaliyah and Jamal. They deserve a chance to dream big. With each word, her confidence grew. The crowd shifted, their attention sharpening. Tom Evans was in the front row, and his eyes locked with hers. This was the man who believed in her before she even believed in herself. The mere thought filled her with warmth. As Maria spoke about the vision for the mentoring program, she shared her experiences, her dreams of teaching kids resilience and hope, her desire to cultivate their hidden talents. Encouragement flowed through her words. We have the potential to uplift each other. To help our youth become leaders and visionaries. But we need to invest in them, she urged, feeling her conviction growing stronger. Suddenly, a voice cut through the crowd. What do you know about mentoring? It came from the back, a familiar sneering tone belonging to Tom's assistant, the same one who had doubted her before. Her stomach twisted, but this time, Maria didn't falter. What I know is that no one can define our worth by our paycheck or our profession. I've lived in this community. I've walked the same paths as these kids. I've seen their dreams suppressed by doubt and lack of guidance. Whispers rippled through the audience. Maria felt a shift. This was more than just a speech, it was a call to arms. A challenge to the very stereotypes that chained them. As she finished, the applause began slowly, hesitant at first, then grew into a wave of sound that washed over her like a warm embrace. Tears pricked the corners of her eyes, but she held her smile, knowing she had sparked something in that room. After the event, Tom approached her, pride shining in his eyes. You were incredible. You commanded the room. I knew you had it in you. Thank you, Tom. But what now? Will they really support this? She felt the weight of hope and fear collide within her. I believe so. We'll work together to ensure this program succeeds. You're the voice this community needs. In that moment of shared purpose, Maria felt the layers of doubt beginning to peel away. But just as she was beginning to believe that things were finally changing, a chilling text buzzed in her pocket. It was from her landlord. Rent is due in 3 days. The world around her froze. How could she juggle this new opportunity with the ever-looming threat of eviction? Just when one battle seemed to be winning, another loomed even larger. Could she really find a way to balance this and secure her family's future too? The fear returned, mingling with her hope, leaving a single question echoing in her mind. What if her fight was just beginning? Maria stood on the sidewalk, the evening air cooling her flushed cheeks. The buzzing of the crowd had faded, replaced by the low sounds of distant traffic and crickets chirping a somber tune. She felt torn, pulled between triumph and the reality of her situation. Each step felt heavier as she approached the bus stop where she would catch a ride home. As she waited, her mind raced through every possibility of how to secure the rent. Could she pick up extra shifts? Perhaps reach out to some of her regular clients for assistance. Questions danced in her head, creating a chaotic rhythm of worry and hope. The bus finally rumbled to a stop, doors swinging open with a mechanical sigh. Maria climbed on, the stale scent of the interior a familiar comfort. She dropped into a seat, closing her eyes as the vehicle jolted forward. With each stop along the route, she observed the faces around her, tired, hopeful, indifferent. They were reflections of her own struggle. When she got home, the small apartment welcomed her with a warmth that felt like a hug. Aaliyah was sprawled on the couch, books scattered around her. Jamal was at the table, scribbling away with determination. The sight melted some of Maria's tension, but it returned when she remembered the looming rent. Hey, Mom. Aaliyah greeted, her voice bright with youthful energy. You should have seen the basketball game today. Jamal even scored a point. Maria couldn't help but smile. That's amazing, buddy. She rushed over to ruffle his hair, eliciting a squeal of protest. In moments like these, the weight of the world felt lighter. "Did you speak today?" Jamal asked, glancing up from his work. "I did, and it went well," Maria replied, her heart swelling with pride. She wanted desperately to protect their innocence, to keep their dreams intact. "But it looks like we might have to make a few changes around here." Aaliyah's expression shifted, concern knitting her brows together. "Are we in trouble?" Maria knelt beside her, taking her hands in her own. "No, sweetie. Just things are a bit tight right now, that's all." She wanted to shield them from her worries, to make everything seem okay. "Okay," Aaliyah said, though Maria could see the questioning glimmer in her eyes. That evening, as Maria tucked the kids into bed, her heart raced with the weight of her responsibilities. She took a deep breath, staring at the wall, where family photos hung like trophies. They had fought hard to build a life worth living. The community project had felt like a spark, igniting the potential within her. But now she wondered if it all would crumble. Hours later, after the children had fallen asleep, she sat alone in the dim light of the kitchen, her phone resting beside her. She scrolled through social media aimlessly, the glow casting shadows across her face. A post caught her eye, a fundraiser for people facing eviction. It was a lifeline, but asking for help felt like an admission of failure. Just then, her phone buzzed again. It was a message from Tom. "I was impressed today, Maria. I know it's late, but I needed to tell you that we're going to make this happen." Her heart fluttered. Was he offering more than just words? With a flurry of emotions, Maria quickly typed back, "Thank you, Tom." She hesitated, the weight of her reality returning. She pressed send before she could overthink. Moments passed as she stared at the screen, hoping for a reply. Her heart ached with the struggle between hope and fear. Could she truly allow herself to lean on someone else, and what would that mean for her family? The silence stretched, filled with uncertainty, leaving Maria with yet another question: was it time to let someone else in, or would that reveal her vulnerabilities too deeply? The next text from Tom could change everything. The quiet buzz of the kitchen was suddenly interrupted by the distinct ping of her phone lighting up the dark space. Maria's heart raced as she picked it up. Tom had responded. "Let us meet tomorrow. I have some ideas," he typed. She felt a rush of anticipation but coupled with a sense of dread. What did he mean by ideas? Did he intend to offer more support, or would it lay bare all her insecurities? With a deep breath, she typed back, "Sure, where?" "Cafe on Main, 10 a.m. "You can count on it," came his reply. When she finally set the phone down, it felt like a weight had been lifted, but it was replaced by a new one, a mix of hope and anxiety. She couldn't shake the feeling that this meeting might change everything. The next morning came quickly, bright and indifferent to her worries. After getting the kids ready for school, Maria stood in front of the bathroom mirror. She smoothed her hair, applied a touch of makeup, and chose a blouse that she always felt confident wearing. She caught her reflection, hoping to find the fierce woman she once knew. But doubts crept in. Was she really someone who could pull this off? Would she be strong enough to face Tom with all her fears laid out in front of him? After sending Jamal and Aaliyah off to school with warm hugs and an assurance of a fun evening to come, Maria felt the nerves settling into her stomach. The bus to Main Street became an exercise in self-encouragement. She glanced at strangers around her, realizing they too carried burdens, dreams, and stories untold. The cafe was warm, filled with the aroma of roasted beans and cinnamon rolls. She spotted Tom at a corner table, waving her over. He looked relaxed and confident, his presence intimidating yet inviting. "Maria." He greeted warmly, rising to give her a brief hug, an unexpected gesture that loosened the knots in her stomach. "Hi, Tom. Thanks for meeting with me," she said, trying to steady her voice. "Of course. I was really impressed with your speech yesterday. You have a gift." The compliment hit her like a sudden wave, washing away some hesitation. "Thank you." It felt good to share. She paused, realizing how much she needed this moment. "But I'm still struggling with rent, and I don't want to take advantage of anyone's kindness. Tom's face shifted to earnest, his brow furrowing slightly. This isn't about favor. I want to help you. I see potential in you not just as a speaker but as part of this project. Her heart hammered. What do you mean? I want you to lead a community initiative. It could provide some income and help you connect with others who need support. It's something I wish we had more of, and I want you to help create it. His words struck deep. An initiative? Money? Leadership? A million thoughts tumbled through her mind. Could she truly embrace this opportunity without drowning in her worries? Why me? She finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Because you are capable, Maria. You are more than just a cleaner. You have the heart and vision to change things around here. For a moment, the world faded, and Maria felt the inklings of ambition tugging at her spirit. She thought of her kids, the life they fought for, and how this could be the break they desperately needed. Still, a part of her clung to uncertainty. Was it fair to reach for something bigger? Did she deserve it? Tom continued talking about plans and ideas, but her mind started to wander, caught between the pull of possibility and the push of doubt. The meeting ended with a handshake that felt momentous. His words echoed in her mind, you are capable. But as she left the cafe, her heart raced with a new question. If she embraced this opportunity, would she risk losing what little stability she had? The decision loomed, and with it came the weight of choice. Would she grasp the extent to her reach for help, or let it slip away like so many dreams before? Maria walked out of the cafe, the crisp air hit her face, awakening something inside. The potential Tom laid out swirled in her mind like autumn leaves caught in a gust of wind, each one vibrant with possibility but fleeting. Just like the path she was considering, she strolled down Main Street, the world around her bustling with life. College students laughed over coffee, an elderly couple shared a quiet moment on a bench, and children rode their bikes down the sidewalk. Their laughter reminded her of her own kids, the way they filled her small apartment with joy. It brought a smile to her face but also tightened a knot in her stomach. What if she failed? What if all this was a mistake? Maria found a bench under a tree and sat down, the weight of it all crashing down on her. She pulled out her phone, staring at Tom's message. There it was, the lifeline she wasn't sure she was ready to grab. A community initiative could mean hope, a fresh start, and yet here she was scared. She thought about her upbringing, growing up in a neighborhood where dreams often felt too big to grasp. Her mother used to tell her to hold tight to hope, something wonderful is always just around the corner. But how long could hope keep her afloat? Every day felt like a tightrope walk. She appreciated the work she did, a cleaner in the busy offices downtown, but deep down she yearned for more. The inner conflict was palpable now. Should she continue along the same well-worn path or take a leap into the unknown? As she sent her kids a quick text, letting them know she'd be home soon for their favorite spaghetti dinner, a sense of clarity washed over her. Maybe stepping into the unknown didn't mean losing everything she had, perhaps it could mean gaining everything she wanted. The image of her children's bright eyes spurred her on. She thought of their laughter during family game nights, the way they eagerly awaited bedtime stories, their dreams expanding with each passing day. They deserved a mother who battled for something better, who showed them that dreams weren't just for the privileged. With a newfound determination, Maria stood up, her mind spinning with possibilities. What would it take to step into this role? What was the first move? Tom's enthusiasm hadn't just inspired her, it ignited something inside. As she walked home, she imagined what a community initiative could mean, how she could help others feel empowered just like Tom did for her. But as the familiar streets led her back to her small apartment, uncertainty crept back. What would the new responsibilities entail? Would people trust her as a leader? That evening, after putting the kids to bed, Maria sat at the kitchen table, her hand resting on the cool surface. The small lamp cast a warm glow, illuminating stacks of bills waiting for attention. She felt stretched thin, and the weight of the moment pressed down on her. Decisions loomed heavy in her mind like a storm cloud. She could reach for something new, risk exposure her weaknesses on the table for all to see, or she could cling to the safety of her current life, even if it was suffocating her spirit. As she stared at the bills, her heart fluttered with the urgency of change. Doubt bubbled to the surface. What if she stepped into this role and found she wasn't capable after all? That last question echoed through her thoughts long after she left the table, keeping her awake, spinning with what-ifs and maybes, until sleep finally claimed her. The next morning, she woke up rejuvenated, but the haunting question remained. How much was she willing to take on, and what would it truly mean to be a leader? As she brewed her coffee, she realized a new thought was forming, wrapping its way around her mind. What if taking a leap meant revealing parts of herself she had long kept hidden? Could her journey really transform her once and for all? Determined to face the day, she felt a spark of excitement. Tomorrow would be a day of choices, and it might just change her life forever. But first, she had to decide, was she truly ready to step into her own power? The sun peeked through Maria's kitchen window, casting rays that danced over her small table. She brewed her coffee carefully, letting the aroma fill the room, grounding her in the moment. Yet, her heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead. Today was the day she would respond to Tom's message. The day when she had to face the doubt that wrapped itself around her like a thick fog. As she sipped her coffee, she glanced at her kids' drawings plastered on the fridge, colorful crayon doodles that spoke of their dreams, their unfiltered innocence shining through. "Mommy can be a superhero, too," one of them had scrawled in messy writing. She smiled, torn between that sweet simplicity and the heavy responsibility she felt on her shoulders. What if her kids saw her fail? What if she didn't have what it took? But then she pictured them later, standing proud, knowing their mother was brave. Maybe they would see her not just as a cleaner but as a woman who dared to chase her dreams. She moved to her laptop, the familiar clack of the keyboard grounding her. With each keystroke, her heart fluttered. What would she say? She typed and deleted again, until finally, it clicked. She poured her thoughts out, raw and honest, encapsulating her fears and her determination. "Tom," she typed, "I'm in. Let us start this initiative. I want to be a part of something bigger." Sending the message felt like stepping off a ledge. The instant she hit send, a rush of adrenaline surged through her. Would Tom believe in her? Was this the right decision? On the way to work, Maria felt the flutter of excitement battling with the weight of uncertainty. She glanced at each passing storefront, assessing the lives unfolding within them, people's daily battles, their triumphs, the raw stories waiting to be told. The idea of community empowerment streaked through her mind like a bolt of lightning. Could she really help create a sense of belonging for others? Work was busy as usual, but her mind buzzed with plans and ideas. Little interactions with colleagues felt different, each smile and nod seemed filled with possibility. The moment she mopped the office floor, she imagined it transforming into a community center, vibrant with life and laughter. Feeling bolder than before, Maria approached a colleague during lunch. "Have you heard of the new community project? I think I want to join," she said, surprising even herself with those words. "Oh, that sounds amazing," her colleague replied, eyes lighting up. "You'd be great at it. You always bring such energy." Energy. She hadn't realized how much she needed that validation. Maria's heart swelled at the compliment, and she felt a flicker of hope blooming. Maybe she was on the right track after all. The day wound down, and as she clocked out, Maria received a notification. It was Tom's reply, short yet powerful. "Great. Let us meet tomorrow to discuss next steps. Excited to have you on board." Her breath caught in her throat. The rush of possibilities washed over her, all the what-ifs fizzling into what could be. She was excited yet terrified, ready yet hesitant. That night, unable to sleep, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Would meeting Tom stir up more doubts? What if she didn't have the answers he was looking for? But before sleep finally enveloped her, a thought drifted into her mind, like the dawn of a new day. She could be just as much a leader as anyone else. Maybe what lay ahead wasn't just a job but a journey of self-discovery, a chance to embrace her true self. As she drifted into dreams, her heart held tightly to that seed of belief. Tomorrow would bring the next step, and it might just uncover strengths she never knew she had. Would she rise to the challenge waiting for her? Would she discover her true power? Morning light streamed through the curtains, illuminating Maria's room in a warm glow. She awoke with a flutter of nerves dancing in her stomach. Today was the day she would meet Tom. Her hand instinctively reached for her phone. A quick check, no message, just an ordinary morning with a flood of notifications, chores, kids' school events, work schedules. But today felt different. Today was a thread of magic woven into the fabric of her life. As she went through her morning routine, each step seemed to magnify her anticipation. Washing her face felt like washing away self-doubt, brushing her hair felt like preparing for something monumental. When she laced up her shoes, she envisioned the firm steps she would take toward transforming her life. For a brief moment, her reflection in the mirror revealed a woman not just defined by her job but one who carried an untapped potential. She dropped her kids off at school, their hugs energizing her, their laughter echoing in her ears. "Mommy, be a superhero today," one of them exclaimed, and she smiled, reminding herself of the superhero within. After dropping them off, she rushed to meet Tom, heart racing with elation and fear in equal measure. The coffee shop where they were to meet bustled with early morning energy. As she walked in, the rich smell of coffee enveloped her. Tom was already seated, his casual demeanor contrasting her jittery nerves. The sight of him, relaxed and confident, made her pulse quicken in a different way. "Maria. So glad you could make it." He greeted her with an encouraging smile. She felt a warm weight lift off her shoulders. They exchanged pleasantries before diving into the conversation about the new initiative. What surprised her was the ease with which Tom spoke about the project. He shared ideas that stirred her creativity, igniting sparks of inspiration she had not felt in years. Each word he uttered painted a picture of community, togetherness, growth, and empowerment. "Your perspective is vital," he said, as they brainstormed possible community engagements. "I can see you connecting with people in a way I can't." Those words wrapped around her like an embrace, pushing the fears back. She spoke passionately about her vision, a place where stories could be shared, where every voice mattered. As they furiously scribbled notes and ideas on napkins, she felt more alive than she had in years. By the time they began discussing logistics, Maria had forgotten her earlier self-doubt. Instead, all that remained were thoughts of potential impact, her dreams dancing within reach. Yet, beneath that excitement bubbled a current of anxiety. What if the fantasy of change contrasted harshly with reality? Tom leaned forward, sensing her hesitation. "Hey, it's okay to be scared. It means you care," he said gently. His words grounded her. With every share of her fears about community backlash or her own limitations, she found solace in their authenticity. They were no longer just ideas, they were dreams anchored in possibility. "Do you really think we can do this?" she asked, stealing a glance at him. "I know we can," he replied, confidence radiating from him. He paused, allowing her to absorb the weight of his belief in her. "We're in this together." As their meeting drew to a close, Maria felt both elated and terrified. With each step toward the door, she could feel the tide of change swelling within her. Could she really embrace this new identity? What challenges lay ahead? Stepping outside, the air felt different, crisp, laden with fresh beginnings. As she headed home, a question lingered in her mind. Would her journey bring her the strength she was beginning to see? The path ahead shimmered with potential, but what awaited beyond the door of her comfort zone? Would she have the strength to navigate through the storms ahead? Maria arrived home, her mind buzzing with ideas as she let herself into the quiet house. The day had unfolded like a gift. Each interaction with Tom felt like unlocking a new door, revealing possibilities she hadn't dared to dream about. Yet, the moment she stepped inside, reality crept back in like an unwelcome guest. The kitchen sink overflowed with dishes, a half-eaten lunch lay forgotten on the counter. She took a breath, feeling the weight of the day's earlier passion slowly dissipate under the weight of ordinary life. She reminded herself that she wanted to create change, not just for herself, but for her children. Their laughter still echoed in her ears, serving as both comfort and motivation. "Mom!" Her youngest burst through the door, backpack bouncing against her. "Can we play when I finish my homework?" "Of course, sweetheart," Maria replied, mustering a smile that felt a bit strained. She pulled her daughter into a hug, inhaling the scent of crayons and childhood that clung to her. As she stepped back, she saw the gleam of hope in her child's eyes. The same sparkle she felt when brainstorming with Tom, with her daughter at the table, focused on her books. Maria found a moment of calm. She poured herself a cup of tea, the steam whispering against her face like a gentle reminder of what she desired. All those dreams she had shared, where did they fit in her chaotic family life? Just as she set her cup down, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Tom. "Let us meet tomorrow to finalize some ideas. I believe in you." Those words leapt off the screen, stirring something deep within her. She could do this. It wouldn't be easy, but the thought of her children seeing her courage was worth it. The desire to create a safer, supportive space for their voices connected her to something larger than herself. Armed with newfound determination, Maria sat next to her daughter, glancing at her scribbled homework. "What do you need help with?" As they worked together on math problems, a surge of warmth enveloped her. The solace of family met the thrill of ambition, and for the first time in a long time, she felt whole, purpose-filled. By dinner, the air was thick with the aroma of spaghetti, laughter bouncing between them as they shared stories from their day. Sometimes, she glanced at her children and felt a stirring courage. She realized that her dreams didn't have to be a separate part of her life. They could weave into the fabric of their family, knitting together hope and aspiration. After tucking her kids into bed, she crept into the living room with her thoughts scattered like the colorful blocks on the floor. As she sank into the couch, she replayed the day's events in her mind, the laughter, the ideas, and the trust Tom placed in her. But a part of her still lingered in doubt. Could she bring this vision to fruition? What if it failed? As she fought these thoughts, a small voice broke through the silence. It was a nighttime text from an old friend she hadn't spoken to in ages. "Hey, I'm struggling, can we talk?" Maria's heart sank for a moment. She knew those struggles well. Here was another chance to embrace her growing potential, to not only uplift her family but to reach out to others. But what did this mean for her journey with Tom and the changes she was eager to kickstart? She took a deep breath, sensing the tension settle within her. Could she juggle both her ambitions and her friend's need for support? With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, she grabbed her phone to respond. What lay on the other side of this choice? Could she balance being both a guiding light in her community while tending to her family and friends? Tomorrow would come with decisions that would shape her future even more profoundly than today. The next morning, the sun peeked through the curtains, casting warm rays across the living room. Maria woke with a jolt, realizing she had hardly slept. Her mind danced between the possibilities of the day ahead and the weight of her friend's message. Would they talk about old times, or would it be a plea for help? Either way, she needed to prepare herself. After a quick breakfast with her children, she gathered her tote bag and took a deep breath. "I'll be out for a bit, but I'll be back before dinner," she announced, determination setting her voice steady. "Mama, where are you going?" her youngest asked, eyes wide with curiosity. "I have a meeting," Maria said, smoothing a hand over her daughter's hair. It felt like a small lie, yet she wouldn't define it that way. A meeting for a project that could help a lot of people. Her children nodded, excitement lighting their faces, and she felt, for a moment, as though she was on the verge of something monumental. The drive to the cafe where she was to meet Tom was filled with adrenaline. Maria envisioned their last conversation, the sparks of creativity, the camaraderie. A part of her felt like she was finally stepping into a role she was meant to play, and the thought thrilled her deeply. When she arrived, Tom was already seated, a notebook open before him, pen poised in anticipation. "Good morning, Maria. He greeted, his energy contagious. I can't wait to dive into our ideas. I think we're onto something that could genuinely change lives. She slid into the seat across from him, her heart racing. Me too. I am really excited. It felt surreal to be sharing a space with someone who believed in her potential. They began discussing concepts, phrases flying between them like butterflies. Screenwriting seminars, community outreach programs, and workshops filled the air. Each idea ignited a flame in Maria's heart. This was at her moment of truth that connected everything she wanted to do. But just as she started to let go of her doubts, her phone buzzed, pulling her back into reality. It was a message from her friend, begging to meet. The urgency pulled at Maria's heartstrings. Sorry, just a moment, she said, her voice trailing off as she thumbed a quick reply. As soon as she looked up, expecting Tom to resume their brainstorming, she found him watching her, concern etched across his brow. Everything okay? He asked, his tone gentle. She hesitated. It's an old friend. She needs to talk, she's having a tough time. Tom leaned back in his chair, taking a moment before responding. You know, it's admirable that you want to help. Just don't forget to take care of your own dreams while you're at it. His words struck a chord within her, ringing with a stark truth she couldn't ignore. She was navigating uncharted waters, balancing her aspirations while being present for her children, and this friend could turn overwhelming. I just don't want to drop the ball on what we're building here, Maria admitted, her voice a mixture of vulnerability and strength. I get that, Tom replied, his expression softening. However, your desire to be there for others is part of what makes you special. Let us make sure your dreams can include all of this. The warmth of his understanding washed over her, yet uncertainty nibbled at the edges of her mind. How could she successfully manage both commitments? As they delved back into brainstorming, Maria's heart was still partially filled with worry about her friend. What kind of struggles were they facing? Hours flew by until their meeting came to an end. They wrapped up their plans, excitement bubbling between them, but Maria felt the pressure of the oncoming conversation with her friend. Later that afternoon, as she parked outside her friend's house, her resolve wavered. Could she conquer the wave of challenges heading her way? Taking a deep breath, she stepped out of the car, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Little did she know, the conversation would unleash secrets that would shift not only her perspective but her entire journey. What awaited her on the other side of the door would intertwine both her past and newfound ambitions, forever altering the course of her life. Maria knocked softly on the door, her heart pounding in anticipation. She could hear muffled sounds from inside, the rustle of someone moving. When the door swung open, her friend Jane's tear-stained face greeted her. Maria stepped inside and immediately enveloped Jane in a warm hug. I'm here for you, she whispered, and felt the weight of Jane's burdens press into her. Thank you for coming, Jane said, her voice shaky. They settled onto the worn couch, with memories hanging in the air like flickering shadows. As Jane shared her struggles, bills mounting, job losses, family pressures, Maria's heart twisted. She remembered her own sleepless nights, her suffocating worries. Yet, in the back of her mind, the excitement and possibility of the community initiative sparked a flicker of hope. Maybe I can help, Maria said, hesitantly. I'm working on something that could support people like you. A community outreach initiative. The words spilled out before she could stop them. They felt bold yet strangely liberating. Jane's eyes brightened, her sadness momentarily replaced by curiosity. Really? What's that about? We want to create a space where people can ask for help and share their stories, mentoring and supporting each other, Maria explained, her passion bubbling to the surface. She spoke about the ideas she'd been building with Tom, feeling the energy shift in the room. By sharing her vision, she recognized a path for Jane too, a way for them to empower each other. Can I help? Jane asked, vulnerability rising in her voice. I want to be part of something bigger. I can't just sit here. The spark between them ignited a newfound determination. Maria realized this was not just her fight, but a communal one, her dreams overlapping with those of others, growing into something inspiring. Yes. Together, we can make this happen, Maria smiled, feeling like a weight had shifted. By the time they finished talking, hours had passed. Jane chuckled through tears. There was lightness now, and Maria felt like they had both grown in a profound way. They had traded burdens for dreams. Thank you, Maria. You've opened my eyes, Jane said, her voice steadier. Let us do this together. The bond of trust and shared purpose cemented their resolve. As Maria drove home, the excitement bubbled up within her. This day had not only filled her with new strength but solidified her vision of community, family, and empowerment. She was carving out a path not only for herself but for those around her. When she walked through the door, Aaliyah and Jamal rushed to her. Mom! We missed you! They shouted in unison. She knelt down to embrace them, feeling their warmth wash over her like sunshine. Guess what? She said, her voice filled with excitement. Mommy's going to create something special that will help people in our community. Jamal perked up, like a superhero. Exactly. We'll help others, just like you help each other at school, Maria replied, feeling her spirit soar. Their eyes were bright with admiration, which fueled her desire to succeed. If she could inspire them, maybe all her efforts in the community would resonate even further. She could set an example of hope and resilience. The next day, Maria met Tom, this time buzzing not just with nerves, but with clarity and eagerness. I spoke to Jane, she started, her smile wide. She's in, and we want to make this initiative a reality. Tom's face lit up. That's fantastic. Together, we can make it even more impactful. What ideas do you have? The brainstorming session that followed was electric. The two of them fell into a rhythm, energized by Maria's vision and Tom's leadership. They discussed workshops for financial literacy, mentorship programs, and creating a safe haven for families like Maria's to come together and support one another. Weeks turned into months, and what once felt impossible slowly came to fruition. The launch day of their community initiative dawned bright and hopeful. Maria stood before a crowd, family members and friends surrounding her, and the nervous flutter in her heart transformed into pure exhilaration. Today, we're not just opening a program, we're opening doors, Maria's voice resonated through the air. We're creating a space to uplift each other, to share our stories, and to learn together. Every one of you has the power to inspire change. People nodded, the fear in their eyes replaced with trust and determination. With the applause of her community echoing in her heart, Maria realized this was not just a victory for her but a victory for everyone who had ever doubted their worth. In that moment, everything felt right. She had stepped into her power. Months later, Maria looked at the community center filled with laughter, with voices sharing, with new hope sprouting like wildflowers. She held Aaliyah and Jamal's hands as they strolled through the space, soaking in the love and growth around them. Mommy, look! Can we help? Aaliyah pointed, eyes sparkling with excitement. Absolutely. Maria smiled. They would help continue this journey together. Looking around, Maria understood, dreams weren't meant to be felt alone. They thrived in togetherness, in strength drawn from community. She had transformed her struggle into purpose, and together, they were all a force for change. As she watched her children interact with others, she felt whole. The past was behind her, but the future lay ahead, rich with possibility and love. Now more than ever, she knew this journey was just beginning. And it was hers, alongside her community. If you found this story impactful, you need to subscribe now. Hit that button to join us for more inspiring tales and never miss a moment of transformation. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm. It makes a real difference in reaching others who need to hear these stories. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about Maria's journey. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us uplift and inspire together.